Greetings, everyone. Welcome to today's update. We have some breaking news to share with you all. Stay tuned as we dive into the details.
They say it is. And just a bit of background on it. So we saw Dan Ashworth and Omar Barada in the United boardroom before the Liverpool game. It's important to stress that we saw them before the Liverpool game. There was an expectation that perhaps we would have seen some of the new leadership team on the US tour in the summer. We have done in the past when it's been other people in charge. It's kind of viewed as a more relaxed environment. Their reason for not seeing us on the US tour was that the transfer window was still in full swing. They were thinking about all these deals that they had to do. They didn't want to sort of comment on players who may or may not be coming in, so they wanted to give a bit of breathing space between the transfer window and them talking to reporters, which is why they did it before the Liverpool game, just to kind of explain really I suppose the new era at Man United and how they've approached this first window. So the top line that came out of that chat with Barada and Ashworth was that they are backing Erik ten Hag. People in the room made the point that you do know you're saying this ahead of a game that could see United lose relatively heavily. That they were fully aware that may happen. Obviously they didn't want it to, but they were fully aware that might happen. And the line was that they are in full support of him. They gave him, or they triggered that 1-year extension to his contract in the summer for a reason, and that he is the manager, as they called it, for their project. The only thing that I think is worth saying on this, as a minor point I suppose, was that both Ashworth and Barada made the point very specifically that the decision to extend Erik ten Hag's contract predated them coming in. So they started officially in July. Dan Ashworth before, Omar Barada. The decision to extend Erik ten Hag's contract was made public in June. Now, whether you think that they were already kind of in their roles in a backseat is beside the point. They were very specific in that this decision about Erik ten Hag's contract was made before they started work. So they have distanced themselves a little bit.
It's not the most. It's not the most ringing endorsement, is it?
It's not. But the contract in itself isn't either. In that, again, there was, or we were told when they made the decision to stick with Erik ten Hag that now new contract talks would take place. The expectation was that they would discuss a new contract, that it would be new set of terms, new set of responsibilities for the manager, and perhaps a 2 or 3 year deal to take him forward. In the end, what happened was there was already a 1-year extension built into his existing contract when he joined from Ajax. And instead of negotiating new terms or a new role for Ten Hag, all they did was trigger that extension. So now he's under contract for an extra year till 2025.
One part of this podcast is to kind of cut through not the nonsense, but kind of the spin and the PR. And I think Jamie Carragher said after the game at the weekend on Sky that, let's be honest, Man United were meeting agents and managers all over Europe, and they were. We know that. I mean, we've all read. I think we all read that Gareth Southgate was very high on their list as early as February, March. They spoke to, I think, Kieran McKenna, Mauricio Pochettino, Thomas Tuchel, and they were not shy about this. And even back in February, March time, when I wrote about Southgate, there was no pushback from the club. It was almost like, well, it is what it is. Now, the reality is that Erik ten Hag surprised us all by winning the cup final against Man City. None of us expected it. And he, at the end of the game, I was at the game that day, you were at the game, he was waving to the fans. He was tapping his blazer as if to say, there you go, thanks for all your love and support. There's the FA Cup, I'm off. He expected to go. Now, a week or two later, as we know, I mean, the day before the report saying he was going to be sacked.
Again, no pushback from the club.
No pushback. But I think, well, I pretty much know.
Also, Ten Hag wasn't told that was wrong.
Yeah, but what I've been told since that the ownership was surprised by the strength of feeling towards Ten Hag, and I think they realised that Gareth Southgate was always a hard sell, because for whatever reason he's deemed to be England manager, haven't won anything. I think that's very harsh, but still, it was a hard sell at the time. It's an even harder sell when the guy that you're about to sack has just won the FA Cup. So I think Ineos looked at it and thought, we've got a lot of changes behind the scenes this year. We've got Dan Ashworth Barada coming in, and one thing that was mentioned to me was they can't really make such a significant decision as the new manager without their guys in place. And like you say, Barada arrived in June. They didn't expect Dan Ashworth to be in place until September the earliest.
It was a very late deal.
Exactly. So it was like, well, we've got a lot of change coming. why add to the churn by getting rid of the manager? Let's kind of the window dressing of this new deal, which wasn't a new deal, it was just an extension, and let's see how we go. Now, as we know, they started badly. He's not the Ineos guy, he's not Barada's guy, he's not Ashworth's guy. When clubs change ownership or change regime, within a year, it's very, very rare that the manager stays. I think that Ten Hag is on thin ice already. They might say it is about before the game against the weekend, so we'll see.
No one at the club is denying that this is a very difficult relationship now between Ten Hag and the new ownership. Now, Dan Ashworth, when we spoke to him on Sunday, was very, very keen to stress that they have got on. He said they've got on very well for the last 8 weeks, and they've played a full part together in this transfer window. There are people at United who are viewing this relationship. The way they put it is like a married couple where one party's had an affair, and now they're trying to get back together. They're trying to make it work. There's no denying, though, that is a very, very difficult thing to do. Ten Hag is fully aware that they went out, like you said, to speak to a load of other managers, and for a number of different reasons, arrived back at Erik Ten Hag. And you're right, because I bumped into someone after walking out of the cup final, actually, at Wembley. Someone who's close to Ten Hag, and actually said to him, "Well, this is great, great chance for Erik to stay now." And he went, "No, I don't think so. I think that's, what a way to end, but no, I don't think so." At some stage, I think it was to do with a number of different factors. They've arrived back at Erik Ten Hag, and you're right, because of that